In the beginning, when this world was created, I was not here, and you were not here, but God was here. In fact, today, this purple piece of cloth will help us think of God. See, purple is the color of royalty, the color of a king. God created this world. He was and he is king over it all. He created mountains. He created rivers. He created animals of all kinds. And then he did something extra special. He created people. Me and you. In fact, every single person who ever has or ever will walk upon the face of this earth was created by God. Tonight, this red piece will help us think of people. But here's the thing. When God made us, he made us different than any other creation. We were made in the image of God. God wanted us to experience a close, solid, unbroken relationship with him. He wanted us to be close with him, to be tight with him. But there's a problem. See, the problem is that we've all done something to ruin that. Every single one of us have let words come out of our mouth that we knew we shouldn't say. And we've all done things that we knew were wrong to do. Those kind of things we are told are called sin. All of us have sinned. And because we have sinned, we've been separated from God. That perfect relationship we were created to experience has been broken. It's been ruined. In fact, not only have we been separated from God, but there is now a penalty that we have to pay for not being perfect. In fact, we are told that the wages of sin, that means the price that we owe for not being perfect. The wages of sin is death. But some people say, well, David, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. If none of us are perfect, if all of us have said and done things we shouldn't say and do, if all of us have sinned and the price we owe for sinning is death, why are we all alive? That is a fair question to ask. So let me tell you what this does not mean. This does not mean that if you go do something later tonight or tomorrow that you shouldn't do and you sin, you're probably going to fall over and die. Thankfully for all of us, that's not what it means. So what does it mean? What it does mean is we face a spiritual death. That can sound confusing, so hopefully this makes it easier. What that simply means is that our sin has now come in between we as people and God. And as long as there is that sin in our life, there's absolutely nothing we could ever do by ourselves to fix that problem. We will forever be separated from God because of our sin. And if that was the end of the story, it definitely would not be a very good story. But thankfully for us, that's not the end, because there was one person who is different. A person like me and like you who walked upon this earth and was tempted to say and do things that they shouldn't say and do. But this one person never gave in. One person was perfect. And that one and only person was, that's exactly right, it was Jesus. Now here's the thing, I don't know if Jesus looked like this. It's just a picture we sometimes use when we talk about Jesus. He truly was the only perfect person who ever lived. But even though Jesus was perfect, there were still people who didn't like him. In fact, they hated him so much they began to spit upon him, to beat him. They even nailed him to a cross, and they killed Jesus. In fact, after Jesus died upon that cross, they went a step further. They brought his body down from the cross and began to do something. They began to wrap it in some burial clothes, which simply were some strips of cloth in which he would be buried in. They placed Jesus' dead body inside those strips of cloth, and then they went one step further. They took the entire thing and they put it in a tomb, which was simply a large hole in the ground in which a great big rock or stone was placed in front to keep it closed. And at that moment that Jesus' dead body was placed in the tomb, I'm sure some people thought this is the end of the story. Jesus is dead and he's in the tomb. But it wasn't the end. On the third day, some people came to that tomb. You can imagine how surprised they must have been when they noticed that the stone placed in front to keep it closed had been rolled away. As if by a miracle, somebody simply reached down, picked it up, and set it aside. They looked inside that tomb, and when they did, they saw something truly amazing. You see, what they realized was that Jesus' body was no longer there. The amazing truth is that Jesus loved us so much. He died on the cross for our sin, but he did not stay dead. He rose from that grave. And it's only because of that that our picture can change. You remember that picture that we as people were separated from God because of that sin, and I told you there's nothing we can do by ourselves to fix that problem. But because of what Jesus has done, there is a way. In fact, Jesus said it like this. He said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No person comes to God but through me.